Alright, it's Eric from EP Autos. Going to do a little bit of behind the wheel commentary about this 2015 Golf TDI. It's new for 2015. Well, I should say that the body is, and the underlying structure is new, heavily revised. If you looked at the car, both from the outside and from the inside, let's pan around the interior here a little bit, it's fairly similar to the previous generation Golf. Overall size is about the same, the theme is about the same, which is nice. It's an appealing car, it's a very successful car. Volkswagen has sold something like 30 million of these things since the model supplanted the Rabbit way back in the day in the 70s. But I want to focus on the diesel version of this car. It's pretty much, I think it's in fact the only diesel-powered compact car, compact slash almost mid-sized car, close, it sort of straddles that line, that you can currently buy, and certainly the only one that you can buy for under $22,000 sticker, and with a, looky here, 6-speed manual transmission. Isn't that nice? They give you a 6-speed with the diesel. In the gas engine, the 15 Golf now uses the 1.8 liter turbo gas 4-cylinder engine. That's also used in the new Beetle, well, just the Beetle now. But it comes standard with a 5-speed, interestingly enough, whereas we get a 6-speed here. You can also get the DSG, the direct shift gearbox automatic, if you like, but I'd rather have this manual. I'd rather have it because it's more enjoyable to drive, and I'd rather have it because you get better gas mileage with it, and of course the car costs less. You can hear the engine lugging a little bit. This 6-speed has a very, 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 very tall overdrive and wide gearing. I find that unless you're operating much above, like here we are at about 50, really you don't need sixth gear until you're at around 50 miles an hour, and if you do shift up to sixths, unless you're on a flat road and not really doing more than just trundling along, you're going to want to probably downshift to fifth or even the fourth. The upside to that is that once you're rolling along on the highway or at fairly high speeds, which hopefully I'll be able to show you here in a moment, the cruise RPMs are extremely low, not even 2,000 at 70, and as you get up to around 80 miles an hour, which is realistically about the fastest you can legally drive these days, you're still not seeing very much in the way of RPM at all. Feel that nice boost, really comes on strong. The engine revs to about 5,000. See that, which is high for a diesel engine. And now we're going to cruise along here. I'm going to get us into sixth. You can see now I'm at 70 probably, and the TAC is reading around 1,800 and not quite 1,900 RPMs at 70. And trust me, you can go a lot faster, and the engine won't be spinning much faster. And the interesting aspect to that, aside from the fact that it feels easy and comfortable to drive this car at fairly high speeds for a long time, is that the mileage is still exceptionally good at those speeds. If you look at a hybrid, which diesel-powered cars are often compared with, you'll discover that the actual real-world mileage that you get in a hybrid car, if you drive it on the highway at 70 plus miles an hour, will almost always be a whole heck of a lot less than what it would be in diesel-powered car at the same speed, for the simple reason that hybrids are just not optimized for high-speed continuous driving. They get their best mileage in stop-and-go and low-speed traffic or driving because they can rely more on their batteries, and they can charge up their batteries more, whereas when they're operated continuously, the battery pack tends to deplete pretty quickly, and once it's depleted, the system kicks the gas engine back on, and there you go, you're burning gas. And you're usually burning a fair amount of gas, surprisingly, because the hybrid cars usually have a comparatively small gas engine relative to the size of the car, because they rely on that additional boost on-demand power from the electric motors and the battery pack. But when the thing is just relying on that little gas engine is oftentimes really struggling just to maintain the pace. So your real-world gas mileage is actually not that good. In my experience driving the hybrids like the Prius and the Prius C on the highway, driving it at around 70 miles an hour, I averaged in the high 30s, which is less than what you get in the diesel. So that's a strong sell for a car like this, especially given that the hybrids are usually more expensive than the diesel. Now, here's the other side of that coin. If you look around, you'll find that some of the Golf's gas engine competition, I'm going to specifically mention the Mazda 3 with the Sky D engine, it's a gas engine, they're really starting to nip at the heels of diesel-powered cars like this. This car maxes out, I guess, around 42 or 43 on the highway. That's the EPA number. And that Skyactiv D engine, I think it goes to 41 or 42 in the Mazda 3 sedan. So it's really close, really close. And the Mazda, of course, costs several $1,000s less than the TDI. Some of the reasons for that, the current crop of gas engine cars are taking advantage of the ethanol fuel that we're all fed. Now, normally I rant against ethanol for a variety of reasons, but one aspect of ethanol that's positive is that it allows effectively higher octane fuel, which in turn allows the car manufacturers to build and sell gas engines that have very high compression ratios relative to what's been common historically during the past 30 or 40 years or even more. The Sky D Mazda engines, for example, have 11-to-1 or higher compression ratios, which if you went back 20 years ago, you really could not operate a car with a compression ratio that high without octane boost, and you'd still risk detonation, pre-ignition, and all of those things that you don't want. Anyway, the point here is that the environment, if you like, the fuel that's available is giving an advantage to gas engine cars again, whereas poor diesels like this Golf are kind of disadvantaged. On the one hand, the diesel fuel now costs more to refine because of the federal government's ultra-low sulfur fuel requirements, and secondarily, the engines themselves are not really as efficient as they could and frankly should be because of all of the emissions stuff that the federal government mandates. Volkswagen, for example, has finally had to knuckle under and fit all their new generation, well, the latest, the 15s and I guess up, diesel-powered cars with urea injection, also known as DEF or diesel exhaust fluid. Previously, up to 2014, you could buy diesel Volkswagens that didn't need anything but diesel fuel. You did not have to add DEF. It's also known as AdBlue and a variety of other things. But now you do. So periodically you have to top off the tank with this DEF, which is an additional hassle and an additional expense. It also, bottom line is that the engines are not as efficient as they could be. Really, a diesel engine in this day and age should be getting 50 plus miles per gallon. If you go back to this car's predecessor, the Rabbit diesel, that was sold back in the late 1970s and the early 80s, the Rabbit diesel was getting 60 miles per gallon. 60 miles per gallon. And that was back when Jim Okada was president. Now, granted, the old Rabbit diesel was a real Clovermobile in the sense that it was slow. It took forever to get going. It didn't have a very high top speed, but it was extremely fuel efficient. 60 miles per gallon 30-something years ago is exceptional. It would be exceptional today, 30 years later. So, final analysis here. You still get some advantages buying this diesel in that you have a very long range. This will go nearly 600 miles on the highway, which is nice. You don't have to stop as often for fuel. The everyday driving qualities of the diesel are still, in my opinion, preferable to those of the gas engine. This engine produces a ton of torque, well, a lot of torque for the displacement, 236 foot-pounds, and it's all available at just 1,700 RPMs, which for all practical purposes means it's available immediately as soon as you touch the gas. In fact, there's so much torque that until you get used to it and you learn to kind of be gentle with the throttle, because you'll spin the tires. And there's tons of mid-range power. You don't really have to work the engine to pass anybody or to merge, and that's all very nice. And in terms of down-the-road stuff, probably this diesel engine will last longer than its gas engine counterpart. If history is any guide, you should be able to get 300,000 miles out of one of these things. Gas engines will last a long time too, though, so you'll have to strike that balance. At any rate, the rest of the review is up at epautos.com. Oops, and wait, before I forget, one other small critique. Volkswagen will only sell you the TDI in this sedan. This is the sedan here that I'm in right now. Try and pan the camera around so you can see the back. There's the back seat. You can't get it in the two-door. However, on deck, coming soon, probably in a couple months, will be the Sport Wagon, with an E, wagon, German spelling, of the Golf. And that hopefully will be available with the diesel engine. Anyway, the review is up at epautos.com, and I hope you'll stop by and take a look. Leave your comments, pro or con. Also, we finally have some stickers for you. Those of you who wish to support EP Autos and maybe get a little something in your paw in return. We have anti-clover stickers, EP Auto stickers, which are yours free for a one-time donation of $10 to help support the site, or for a recurring monthly donation of $5 or more, which you can send via PayPal or through the mail. All that information is up at the website. Again, epautos.com. Hope you stop by. Hope you like what we've got, and we'll catch up with you next time.